Hello, my name is Bruce. I'm a mover in Washington State and sort of semi-retired. I had a business from 91 to 2012 and out of Thurston County. And in 2000, um, having used temporary labor to provide services, um, I was really taken back by the quality of workers that I got, not because of the workers themselves, but the the situation many of them were in. These are low income workers, um, trying to find work, and what we have to offer them in our communities today are temp agencies. If you need work, you go down to these temp offices and hang out until um, you're sent out on an assignment. Unfortunately, there's no other services that these companies provide. Maybe they provide you a cup of coffee. Maybe they provide you a ride to the job site. So I started in 2000. I started my own company. It was a nonprofit with the mission being that all the profits that we make, which if you don't know much about temp labor, how it works basically is the staffing company charges you as an employer a higher rate, let's say 3 to 5 an hour per person that they send out to you. And on average, these staffing agencies, by their own staffing agency association literature, say these companies will make between $5 and $7 million per office annually. There's currently about 23,000 of these offices in the United States. They're going to bring in this year about $120 billion. So in 2000, as I said, I opened my own office as a nonprofit. The profits that we generated went to providing basic needs services for these workers. So this is a tax-free system that is privately owned, is through a nonprofit. So we provided a continental breakfast in the morning. We provided a lunch if the person went out on assignment. We provided day storage. We provided a ride to and from their job site back to the office, which we were really close to, a half a block from the hub of the city bus terminal. Sorry, sorry. So we provided, by 2006, we moved into an office where we were able to provide, or we're looking to provide further assistance. That is being a clothing store, so that if you didn't have clothes for to go out on an assignment, or you were going for an interview, we had clothes. We had um, toiletry items, shampoo, soaps, that sort of thing, and we were working towards providing a laundry and shower service. Um, in 2001, we opened another nonprofit whose mission was called A Hand Up Construction, and that mission was to provide training, jobs, and build community infrastructure such as low-income housing. We partnered with a habitat program, South Puget Sound Habitat, and we were instrumental in creating, being able to develop a 7-acre site that Habitat had, and we're able to put 14 or 15 homes on that site. We became designated through HUD as a community-based development organization. Unfortunately, that program, because of our finance director embezzling funds from us, we weren't able to continue. The point is that we proved that this works. A nonprofit operating is able to provide services directly to workers, and they're able to save money thereby getting themselves on their feet faster. And I argue that the community is getting a better product, which the product being labor. They're getting a better product because the person that is arriving is on time, much more ready to work. They've had, a meal, or they've had food. They've probably had a shower the night before, and they've had building a excuse me, having this volume do this is mad. Building what they call a capsule hotel. In Japan and Malaysia, they utilize what they call capsule hotels. They're not full-fledged hotels where people have access to a shower within their room, and the rooms aren't huge. A capsule hotel is just a slot, basically, or a tube form that you crawl into, and it's enough for one or two people to sleep in. They do have co-ed ones, as I understand it, but there's men and women's capsule hotels in Japan. So you walk in, you have a place for your storage, you're assigned a room, the showers are communal, and what we would further offer is a nonprofit staffing company is laundry facilities. These are basic needs that if a person's going to get long-term employment eventually, they need these to do that. So, and again, it's not taxpayer funded. So how do we provide the funds, or where do we put these things? You probably noticed in your communities these big box stores that are just becoming more and more prevalent, it seems like, in our communities. So these big box stores are just sitting idle, all kinds of parking, and just this huge space that we could lease to other nonprofits in our communities, lowering their costs, combining resources like copying machines and things like this to help them lower their overhead so that they can do the work that you probably would appreciate, working on the environment, working on other community issues. So how do we start that capital process? I'm suggesting using community bonds. If you research community bonds, Toronto used these kinds of bonds, and they work very effectively. So, and again, another idea is to use a private bank. If we took the profits that we would be generating from this enterprise, and if you look at U.S. Code Section Title 12, which it relates to banking, and go to Chapter 31, it details cooperative banks. I think a private bank would be faster to organize, less government involvement. This is a private enterprise. We don't need government. Obviously, they haven't done anything to fix the problem. We're doing this ourselves in our own communities. So I'm putting a GoFundMe site up talking about this and showing examples, as I said, of capsule hotels and so on. What I want to do is take this idea nationally by offering, as I said, I was a mover. I have a truck. I want to provide way for people who are in need of being moved. A family, let's say, needs to go from Washington to Atlanta, let's say, and for work. Let's say they have a job offered to them, but they need to move, but they don't have the money to move. So what I'm offering is through a raffle or whatever kind of system, I'm offering to move them there at no cost, and along the way advertise. And that how to advertise is that I want to wrap my truck. I have a 24-foot box truck. Wrap my truck basically with an illustration of what we're providing. You'd see a big box store vacant, and see also, what that would be transformed into using community bonds, using this idea of having a staff agency provide money to provide jobs in your community. You think about the state of California has 26,000 or 2,600, of these temp labor agencies making $5 to $7 million. They say in an average city of 35,000 people, there's probably one temporary labor company. So again, there's a $5 to $7 million asset that we could take that money that's being created by for-profit corporations and turn it into a community resource. Now, also this facility probably has a dock, right, for loading and unloading services. So we could provide a full-service moving hall, which would be training movers for other companies, and we could be offering services again to low-income people, which I've been in the business for many years, and there's a real need for low-income, for elderly and disabled people to get their stuff moved, right? And this is a great training resource for full-time movers that need qualified or experienced movers. Every season I have to retrain movers because during the winter when business slacks off, these guys have to go find work, and so they leave, and then next season you're rehiring or you're retraining. So this is a training resource for them. Also within this multi-purpose building, we could create another staffing agency. I have a idea on my webpage called CAM, Cooperative Association of Auto Mechanics. Again, we're losing blue-collar workers in this country. People don't have the vocational training available to provide training in blue-collar trades. So you've heard of AAA. AAA offers services to private individuals in their vehicles, but nobody helps commercial entities. And everybody is a commercial entity. If you have a 10,000 pound truck now, in most states you're considered a commercial entity. So if you have a construction business or a plumbing business or whatever, you're working out of your truck, your van, whatever, or independent truckers, they have a real hard time finding parking, right? These are real need situations where this big box store with this huge parking lot could offer services to these different entities. A commercial AAA type service offering lockout services, repair services with journeyman instructors instructing apprentices on how to do repairs, could be a real asset to our communities and to our future. So again, what I'm proposing is a GoFundMe site basically detailing the idea of going nationwide and promoting this concept. We need to get people to work. We need to bring better resources to our communities, and I believe this is a way to do it tax-free. And I believe having the experience of having my own temp agency that was a nonprofit, seeing the people come in the door, realizing that there's about 10% of the population of low-income temp workers that we can't help. These folks need to have services provided by the government, city, county, whatever. This would be a huge relief from the current situation. Is that everybody going through county or whatever. We can help ourselves if we have the opportunity. Using our cooperative banks, private banks that we would organize. There's only 3,000 counties that make up this country. It's not a big number. And these banks could be online. So again, lowering the cost of startup and taking that 120 billion and multiplying it by 10 using commercial bank prime. So again, I apologize for the audio in this. I've worked on this for weeks trying to get this video out, and I'm not a tech. I'm not a website designer. But if you'd like to visit my website, it's called ifyouhadtheopportunity.org. Because really, if you had the opportunity, wouldn't you take advantage? If you were a temp worker, who would you rather work for? Wouldn't you rather work for someone that's helping you get back on your feet and it's not costing you anything? Actually, it's helping you to save money. And as an employer, wouldn't you rather help your community rather than realizing that the money that you're paying for that temp worker is just going to some corporate pocket? I know as we had our own temp agency in Olympia, generally the employers out there really appreciated knowing that the monies they were paying for these laborers, which they were paying anyway, was going to directly help benefit their own communities. So again, I'll be posting more of these videos on a GoFundMe site. I'm not saying I'm a rocket scientist. I know everything. I'm just saying I've done it. I've been there. I know it works. We just need to get the word out there. So going state to state, getting people moved at no cost to them. So it's nonprofit. I'm not making a profit on the road. You're helping me to get these people moved, keep my truck maintained, get it wrapped with a nice advertising logo so people understand the mission. And let's get these people inside. I don't want to see another winter in this country where good people are outdoors unnecessarily. Everybody can work, even if it's 4 hours a day, if they could work doing something, even cleaning the facility, helping people in various jobs right there on site. Everybody can do a little to help the whole process. So if you can work 4 hours a day at something, you got a place to stay until you get on your feet. Okay. Also, if you look at the 1939 Internal Revenue Code, Section 101, which is the section dealing with tax-exempt corporations, letter A under that tax code is labor organizations. So these employees is per the text of the 39 code are non-exempt, or excuse me, are exempt from federal tax. So there's about 25% of these guys' budget, or excuse me, paycheck could be going directly into a savings fund so that within a short time they have money to get out and get back on their feet. So I really appreciate your time. Please check out our GoFundMe site. Again, I apologize for this. If somebody has any ideas on how to fix this audio program, I'd really appreciate it. I can be reached at cooperativist, that's COOPERATIVIST @gmail.com, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.